Found out my wife has been my best friend. Reddit, I have come to you in my hour of need. First, some background information. I adore this woman. I've spent the last 6 years of my life with her, and our lives are inextricably linked. Before meeting my future wife, I only had one other true girlfriend. We dated for 3 years before getting married, and have been married for roughly 2.5 years. We have our ups and downs, disputes, and romantic evenings, just like any other long-term marriage. Things have become a bit worse recently, but life is tough. We had to move back in with her mother for financial reasons, since it worked for both the mother and us. She has recently been spending a lot of time with a common acquaintance of ours. She visits him on a regular basis when I am unable to do so at work. They engage in apparently regular activities such as watching television, drinking, going to the beach, and so on. Over the past 6 months, the number of these trips had climbed significantly to at least once a week, if not more. My buddy had become more aloof and unavailable to spend out with me if I was around. With each meeting, I became increasingly skeptical. I felt an intense need to check at my inebriated wife's phone last Friday, after an unconnected altercation with her. This isn't typical of me, and I normally respect her privacy. My suspicions got the better of me, and I decided to investigate. I retrieved the guy's SMS message history. What I discovered destroyed me. Detailed, explicit communications from at least 2 months ago. My stomach dropped, I almost passed out, I felt blood gush from my face, and I fainted. There were notes in her lips about him, about how he makes her insatiable, and about how we could, in answer to what could we do. I was taken aback. I couldn't take it in, it made no sense. My thoughts were racing. I had never felt so much emotion in my life as I did in those few minutes. Disgust, betrayal, fury, remorse, dread, and heartbreaking despair. How could my lovely wife have done this to me? Here I am imagining my darling woman with this man who has been my buddy since before I ever met my wife. How could he violate our friendship in such a way? I can't claim I wasn't thinking about loading the pistol at that time. If not for them, then for me. I was a broken guy, a crying mess in bed, next to his drunkenly passed-out wife. I'm unable to forgive her. I decided right then and there that this is completely inexcusable. I had to go. I must go and be on my own. I don't have any money saved up, and I don't possess a vehicle. I don't have much of anything. I chose not to inform her yet, so that I could prepare myself for living alone. I was able to locate a place to live thanks to the help of a few pals. I have another acquaintance who has a vehicle that I can purchase. I'm putting my ducks in a row so I can drop a bomb on them and get them out of there. That gets you up to speed. As of today, I intend to pack and transfer all of my belongings while she is at work tomorrow. At the end of the day, I have to fetch her up from work. I'll bring her home, she'll see that all of my belongings have vanished, and the ultimate quarrel will commence. I'm not sure what I'm going to say, but with so much to say, it will come easy. So Reddit, you now know my heinous tale. Please provide me your counsel, insight, and general assistance for which you are well renowned. Edit. First and foremost, Reddit, I adore you, seriously. The outpouring of love, guidance, and I know how you feel / same thing happened to me has been invaluable. I never anticipated this kind of reaction, much alone to make it to the main page. Thank you everyone from the bottom of my now broken heart. I apologize if you wrote me a note. I haven't had time to react to many of them, but I'm doing my best to read them all. Following that, I would like to listen to your advice. Don't give her that last argument, according to 99% of you. I agree with you more and more as I read. You're correct, it would be nothing but extraneous pain. The issue here is that I'll be driving her vehicle all day Friday. I'm assuming a brief letter, more than simply, I know, but not a complete book, and leaving the vehicle and keys for her at her workplace would suffice. Then I'll be picked up by a buddy and taken for a trip into the sunset. So she reads the message, is upset, and returns home to find the house empty of my belongings and me nowhere to be found. Of sure, I'll hire a lawyer. I believe my evidence is adequate. I have reviewed divorce rules in my state, Maryland, and I believe I have covered all of my bases. I don't have any assets to divide, No community property and no children. I am grateful for this. At least I found out now, before we had to deal with all of those issues. To those who believe we should reconcile and I should forgive her. No way, no how. One thing I didn't include in my first article was that this occurred before we were married, and I attempted the forgiving thing once. Never, ever again. Thank you once again, Reddit. When I have a chance, I'll publish a follow-up update. Before I go into the specifics of what occurred on Friday, I must express my gratitude to all of you helpful Redditors out there. I anticipated a few responses when I shared the original tale. It went viral on the main page, and hundreds of people expressed their support. There were so many messages, comments, and answers, all giving assistance and nice thoughts. You guys are fantastic. Scorgasm even gave me gold on Reddit. Knowing that millions of strangers on the internet were rooting for me provided me the bravery and motivation I needed to tackle my circumstance. To say the least, it was weird. Friday went about as well as a day like this can go. I took Reddit's advice and modified my plans before the day had started. There is no final argument. Despite the terrible news, our final week was a complete success. Early in the week, we headed to the beach. Wednesday night sex was fantastic. On Thursday, we went to the movies after a beautiful dress-up expensive supper on her dime, also on her dollar. She was in a wonderful mood on Friday, and we had some amazing morning sex. I dropped her off at work, gave her a warm embrace, and said my goodbyes. That was our final conversation. I dashed over to acquire the keys to my new house and some boxes to pack. I dashed home to begin packing. My brother-in-law is often at home, so he was naturally present. I took him aside and told him the bad news. He was enraged with his sister and extremely supportive of me. He was a wonderful brother to me, and I made sure to tell him as soon as I could. We sobbed and spoke about it for a bit, and then he was as helpful as he could, helping me pack everything. Unfortunately, practically all of my possessions could only fit into one carload of a small little hatchback. Unloaded the first trip, and it was almost time for my truck-owning buddy to go for the day. I returned, and my mother-in-law was now at home. We spoke for a long time. She was also there for me. She didn't take my side, since she doesn't take sides, but she understood and was quite supportive of my choice. She assured me that I could rely on her for assistance at any moment, and that I was still considered family to her. We spent some time talking and crying together. She hoped for us to sort things out, but I told her I could never forgive her daughter, and she understood totally. I left the wife's vehicle at home and requested the mother-in-law to come pick her up once she got off work. She had been going insane all day because I had been neglecting her. She couldn't reach me, phoned many times, and sent several messages, all of which I ignored. She began phoning my friends and relatives, concerned that I had been jailed, been in a vehicle accident, or something similar. When they called, I tell them to tell her they couldn't contact me either. I had intended to leave a letter at her house, but I got caught up in the emotion of speaking with her mother-in-law and totally forgot. Call me weak, but I eventually texted her. I'm not going to speak about it right now, and I'm going to ignore your messages. You currently have nothing to say to me. I hope you're happy together, and that it was all worthwhile. I'll never be able to forgive you. Of course, this is followed by a series of texts from her, groveling and apologizing. She accepted it, apologized, and said she felt like the most important person in the world, that I'm the love of her life and the only one she wants. She even had the nerve to say, "We broke it off about 2 weeks ago, as if it would make me feel better." I've said nothing else to her. Fast forward to the new location, unpacking and getting settled. Having my own house has done wonders for my spirits. I'm in a good mood, feeling positive and full of life. I'm moving in with the buddy I've known the longest, who has supported me since I first arrived to Maryland over 10 years ago. I'm on my path to recovery thanks to some good talk and time spent admiring the trees with close friends. I want to utilize my second shot at freedom to take a step back, assess my life, and go on a road of self-improvement and acceptance of who I am. It's time to lose a few pounds, work on improving my musical abilities. I play guitar, bass, drums, and dabble in electronic music. And most importantly, go out there and appreciate the world and the people in it. I'd want to do some traveling, meet new people, and see new areas. Despite the terrible circumstances I'm in, I feel refreshed and energized. I'm hoping to meet some of you Redditors out there. Many of you have offered to invite me over or buy me a drink, and I believe I'll accept some of your offers soon. I can't keep up with the hundreds of comments, but I'm trying my best to read them all and react to a few. Seriously, Reddit, I adore you guys. You responded to my cry for assistance, and for that I will be forever thankful.